The alarm sirens wailed through the compound like angry metal birds. Jake Carter pressed his back against the corridor wall, listening to the sound of boots running on metal floors. Maya stood beside him, her hand gripping a pistol she had taken from one of the dead guards. "How many prisoners are there?" Jake asked, checking his ammunition. "Maybe 30 in the main block," Maya replied. "But there are others. Work crews. Children in the lower levels." Jake's jaw tightened. Children. He had not known about children. "We get everyone," he said. "No one gets left behind." They moved through the compound like ghosts, using the maintenance tunnels Jake had mapped earlier. Maya's knowledge of the prison layout helped them avoid the main guard patrols. She knew which corridors were watched and which were forgotten. First group of prisoners they found were in the workshops. 12 aliens of different species, all chained to their workstations. They looked up in terror when Jake and Maya burst through the doors. "We are here to help," Maya said in 3 different languages. "We are getting you out." An old Altarian with silver skin spoke up. "This is a trick. The guards are testing us." "No." "Trick," Jake said, shooting the locks off their chains. "But we need to move fast." One by one, the prisoners stood up. Some could barely walk. Others were missing limbs. All of them looked like they had given up hope long ago. Zara was among them. When she saw Maya, her blue face lit up with joy. "Maya! You are alive." "So are you," Maya replied, hugging her friend. Jake kept his promise. Zara looked at Jake with new respect. "You are the one she told me about, the human who came back." "We are not out yet," Jake said. "Can you help get them to the landing bay?" "I know the way." Zara nodded. "But what about the children?" Jake felt his heart sink. "Where are they?" "Sub-level 3. They keep them separate from the adults." Jake looked at Maya. Her face was set. With determination. "I will get them," she said. "You take this group to the ship." "No way. We stick together." "Jake, you are wounded." "I know this place better than you do, and I speak more languages." Maya checked her weapon. "Trust me." Jake wanted to argue, but she was right. His left arm was not working properly from the fight with Grahmer, and Maya had changed. The broken woman from the auction was gone. In her place stood someone who remembered how to fight. "Take this," Jake said, giving her his cum device. "Kate will guide you to the ship." Maya clipped the device to her belt. "What about you? I'm going to buy us some time. The main security room is 2 levels up. If I can lock down their systems, it will slow them down." Maya grabbed his good arm. "Do not die, Jake Carter. I just got my life back. I do not want to lose the person who gave it to me." Jake smiled. "I will see you on the ship." They split up. Jake led Zara and the other prisoners toward the surface, while Maya went deeper into the compound. Both groups moved as quietly as they could, but stealth was becoming impossible. The Vorthic guards were everywhere now, searching every room and corridor. Jake's group made it to the main floor before running into trouble. A patrol of 6 guards blocked the corridor ahead. There was no way around them. "Stay back," Jake told the prisoners. He stepped into the open corridor with his hands raised. "Looking for me?" The guards raised their weapons. "Surrender, human. You are outnumbered." "I know," Jake said. Then he smiled. "But you are not thinking like a human." Jake dove to the side. As explosive charges he had planted earlier went off, the corridor filled with smoke and debris. In the confusion, Jake and the prisoners ran for the exit. Behind them, more alarms started sounding. Emergency lights flashed red and yellow. The compound's automated systems were starting to fail as Jake's sabotage took effect. Meanwhile, Maya made her way to sub-level 3. The corridors here were narrower and darker. She could hear children crying behind locked doors. The sound made her want to kill every Vorthic in the compound. She found the children's area behind a heavy metal door. Inside were 15 young beings of various species. The oldest looked maybe 12 years old. The youngest was barely old enough to walk. "Hello," Maya said softly, kneeling down to their level. "My name is Maya. I am here to take you home." A human girl with blonde hair stepped forward. She could not have been more than 8 years old. "Are you real, or are you another dream?" Maya felt tears in her eyes. "I am real, sweetie. What is your name?" "Lucy." "Well, Lucy, would you like to see the stars again?" Lucy nodded so hard her whole body shook. "Please, I want to go home." "Then let's go home," Maya said. Getting the children out was harder than Maya had expected. Some were too scared to move. Others were too weak. Maya had to carry the smallest ones while encouraging the others to follow. They made it to the main floor just as Jake's explosive charges finished their work. Half the compound was without power. Emergency systems were failing. The Vorthik were losing control of their own facility. Maya's cum device crackled to life. "Maya, this is Kate. Where are you?" "Main floor, East Corridor. I have 15 children with me." "Copy that." "Jake's group is already at the ship. We are sending Ben to help you." Ben Walsh appeared around the corner carrying a medical kit and emergency supplies. When he saw the children, his face went pale. "Oh, hell no. Nobody does this to kids." Together, Maya and Ben got the children to the landing bay. Jake was waiting there with Zara and the other prisoners. His face lit up when he saw Maya, then darkened when he saw the children. "How long have they been here?" he asked quietly. "Some for years," Maya replied. Lucy was taken when she was 5. Jake looked at the little blonde girl who was clinging to Maya's leg. Something hard and cold settled in his eyes. "Kate, are the ship's weapons online?" "Jake, what are you thinking?" Kate's voice came through the comm. "I'm thinking this place needs to burn. The patrol ships will be here soon. We need to leave now." Jake looked around the landing bay. All the prisoners were aboard his ship, but there were still Vorthik guards everywhere. They would regroup soon. They would rebuild. They would capture more slaves. "Maya," Jake said, "you used to be an engineer, right?" "Yes." "Why? This is a mining facility. They must have explosives somewhere." Maya's eyes widened as she understood. "The main storage is in Building 4. But Jake, if we set those off ... the whole compound goes up in smoke," Jake finished. "No more slaves. No more torture. No more children in cages." Maya looked at the children they had rescued. At Zara and the other prisoners who would never be the same. At the compound that had been built to break spirits and destroy hope. "Do it," she said. Jake smiled. "I was hoping you would say that, but I do this alone. Get everyone to the ship." "No," Maya said firmly. "We do this together. You saved me, Jake. Now let me save everyone else." Jake wanted to argue, but he could see the determination in her eyes. This was important to her. This was how she would take back her power. "Okay," he said. Together, they left Ben with the prisoners and made their way to the explosive storage. Maya's engineering knowledge helped them set up a chain reaction that would destroy the entire compound. They had maybe 10 minutes before the charges went off. As they ran back to the ship, Maya grabbed Jake's arm. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For seeing me as human when I forgot how to see myself that way." Jake looked at her. The broken slave was gone. In her place was a strong woman who had found her way back to herself. "You never stopped being human, Maya. You just needed someone to remind you." They reached the ship as the first explosions began. Kate had the engines running and the weapons charged. As they lifted off, Maya watched through the porthole as the compound that had been her prison burst into flames. "Good riddance," she whispered. But their troubles were not over. 3 Vorthik patrol ships were approaching fast, their weapons already firing. The real fight was just beginning. Jake Carter had saved Maya Chun, but now they had to save each other. Jake Carter crouched in the darkness of the maintenance tunnel, his fingers working on the security panel. Sweat dripped from his forehead as he carefully cut through the wires. One wrong move and every alarm in the compound would sound. He had. Been working for 3 hours. The main security grid was almost disabled. Just a few more connections to sever and the cameras would go dark. The door locks would fail. The escape route would be clear. Jake's comm device buzzed softly. Kate's voice came through the earpiece. Jake, we have a problem. Vorthid patrol ships are heading toward the planet. 3 of them. Jake's hands stopped moving. How long do we have? Maybe 6 hours before they arrive. If they're coming to check on the compound, they will find us. Jake looked at the security panel. He needed at least 2 more hours to finish the job properly, but Maya did not have 2 hours. None of the prisoners did. Change your plans, Jake said. I am going in now. Jake, that is suicide. The security is still active. I know, but I cannot wait. Jake closed his eyes and thought about Maya's face, about the hope he had seen growing in her eyes. If something happens to me, get out of here. Do not try to rescue me. Like hell we will leave you. Jake smiled despite everything. I love you guys too. Carter out. He cut the comm link and went back to work. Faster now, taking risks he would not normally take. He managed to disable the cameras in the prison block and unlock the main doors. It would have to be enough. Jake crawled through the tunnels toward Building 3. He could hear his heart pounding in his ears. Everything depended on the next few minutes. He reached the prison block and climbed up through the access grate. The corridor was empty. The guards were probably eating dinner or sleeping. Jake moved quickly toward Maya's cell, but as he reached her door, he heard something that made his blood freeze, screaming Maya's voice, raw and desperate, echoing through the tunnels from somewhere deeper in the compound. Jake's careful plan shattered. Like glass. He forgot about stealth. He forgot about the guards. He forgot about everything except that sound. He ran toward the screaming, his boots pounding on the metal floor. The sound was coming from the arena room where he had watched Grafmer torture prisoners the night before. Jake burst through the doors without thinking. The arena was lit by harsh spotlights. Grafmer stood in the center, holding a metal rod that sparked with electricity. Maya was chained to a post, her clothes torn, her body shaking from the electric shocks. Please, Maya was saying between gasps, please stop. Now you beg, Grafmer laughed. I told you everyone breaks eventually. Jake counted the guards in the room. 8 of them, all armed. Not good odds, but he did not care. He pulled out his pistol and shot the 2 guards nearest to him before they could react. The others turned toward him, reaching for their weapons. Jake dove behind a concrete barrier as laser bolts sizzled past his head. What do we have here? Grafmer called out. A rescuer? How romantic. Jake looked around the barrier. Grafmer had not moved from Maya's side. He held the electric rod near her face, threatening her with it. Come out, little human, Grafmer said, or I will cook your friend's brain. Jake stepped out from behind the barrier, his hands raised. His pistol was pointed at the floor. Let her go. Let her go? Grafmer laughed. She is mine. I bought her. I own her. She is not property, Jake said. She is a person. Humans are not people, Grafmer replied. You are animals. Useful. Animals, but animals nonetheless. Jake looked at Maya. She was staring at him with wide eyes. There was fear there, but also something else. Recognition. She knew he had come for her, just like he promised. What is your name, little rescuer? Grafmer asked. Jake Carter. Well, Jake Carter, you have made a very big mistake. Do you know what I am going to do to you? Jake's voice was calm and steady. I do not care what you do to me, but I am going to give you one warning. He looked directly into Grafmer's yellow eyes. Touch her again, and I will destroy you. Grafmer stared at him for a moment, then burst into laughter. The other guards joined in. To them, Jake was just one small human making threats he could not keep. You will destroy me, Grafmer said. You are in chains, surrounded by my guards, and you think you can threaten me? Jake was not in chains, but he did not correct the alien. I am not threatening you. I am promising you. Grafmer's laughter died. There was something in Jake's voice that made him uncomfortable, something cold and final. You humans are so dramatic, Grafmer said. He raised the electric rod toward Maya's face. Let me show you what happens to dramatic humans. The rod touched Maya's cheek. She screamed as electricity coursed through her body. But she kept her eyes on Jake. Even through the pain dots, something snapped inside Jake Carter. Something that had been holding him back, keeping him civilized. It broke like a dam bursting. Jake moved faster than any of the guards had expected. He rolled to the side and came up shooting. 2 more guards went down before they could aim. The others scattered for cover, but Jake was not interested in the guards anymore. He was focused on Grafmer. The big alien had dropped the electric rod and was reaching for his sidearm. Jake shot him in the shoulder, spinning him around. Grafmer roared in pain and anger. You cannot kill me, human, Grafmer snarled. I am twice your size, twice your strength. Jake walked toward him, reloading his pistol. Maybe, but I am twice as angry as you are stupid. Grafmer charged at Jake, his claws extended. Jake dodged to the side and emptied his clip into the alien's chest. Grafmer stumbled but did not fall. His thick hide had absorbed most of the damage. Jake threw the empty gun away and pulled out his combat knife. Grafmer smiled, thinking he had won. Now you die like the animal you are, Grafmer said. The 2 fighters circled each other. Grafmer was bigger and stronger, but Jake was faster and more experienced. When Grafmer lunged at him, Jake slid under his arms and drove the knife deep into the alien's side. Grafmer howled and backhanded Jake across the face. Jake flew through the air and hit the wall hard. Stars exploded behind his eyes. Grafmer pulled out the knife and threw it away. Green blood dripped from his wound. I'm going to tear you apart piece by piece. Jake stood up slowly, spitting blood. You talk too much. They fought like animals. Grafmer used his claws and teeth. Jake used his fists and boots and anything else he could find. The alien was stronger, but Jake was more desperate. Maya watched from her chains, unable to help. She had never seen anything like it. Jake was fighting like a man possessed, taking punishment that would have killed most people. Grafmer managed to pin Jake to the ground. His claws wrapped around Jake's throat. Guy, human scum. Jake looked up at the alien's face. Then he smiled. Not today. With his last bit of strength, Jake drove his thumb into Grafmer's eye. The alien screamed and loosened his grip. Jake rolled away and grabbed a piece of broken metal from the floor. When Grafmer came at him again, Jake was ready. He drove the metal spike deep into the alien's throat. Grafmer's eyes went wide. He tried to speak, but only blood came out. The big alien fell to his knees, then onto his side. His yellow eyes stared at nothing. Jake stood over the body, breathing hard. Blood dripped from dozens of cuts on his face and arms, but he was alive. Jake, Maya whispered. He turned to look at her. She was still chained to the post, but her eyes were different now. They were not empty anymore. They were full of hope and gratitude and something that might have been love. I told you I would come back, Jake said. The remaining guards were regrouping, calling for backup. Jake could hear boots running in the corridors outside. Time was running out. Jake found the keys to Maya's chains on Grafmer's body. His hands shook as he unlocked the shackles. When the last chain fell away, Maya collapsed into his arms. I thought you were dead, she said. I am harder to kill than I look, Jake replied. Can you walk? Maya nodded. I think so. Jake helped her to her feet. She was weak but determined. We need to find the others, the other prisoners. Maya, we do not have time. We cannot leave them, she said. Please, Jake. They are people too. Jake looked at her face and saw the woman she used to be. The engineer who built worlds. The person who cared about others, even when she was broken. Okay, he said. We get them all. Outside, Alarms began to sound. The compound was waking up. But Jake Carter had made his choice. He had drawn his line in the sand and crossed it. Now there was no going back. Jake Carter stood at the compound's main gate, wearing dirty work clothes and carrying a tool bag. The fake identity papers in his pocket said he was Tom Bradley, a maintenance worker from Zarian Industrial Services. Ben had done good work. The papers looked real enough to fool most guards. The Vorthak guard at the gate was young and bored. He barely looked at Jake's papers before waving him through. Maintenance tunnel access is through Building 7, the guard said in broken English. Do not go anywhere else. Jake nodded and walked into the compound. The place was even worse up close. The air smelled like chemicals and fear. Slaves moved between the buildings in chains, their heads down, their spirits broken. Vorthak guards. Watched them with cruel eyes, electric prods ready in their hands. Building 7 was a low concrete structure near the back of the compound. Jake found the tunnel entrance and climbed down a metal ladder. The tunnels were dark and narrow, lit only by emergency lights. Perfect for moving around without being seen. Jake had memorized the compound's layout, but seeing it in person was different. The tunnels connected all the major buildings. He could get almost anywhere without going above ground. But first, he needed to find Maya. The prisoner cells were in the basement of Building 3. Jake crawled through the tunnel system until he found the right access point. He could hear voices above him through the metal grating. Check the new arrivals, a guard was saying. Grafmer wants to inspect them before dinner. Jake waited until the footsteps moved away, then carefully opened the grating. He pulled himself up into a dark corridor lined with metal doors. Each door had a small window, barely big enough to look through. Jake moved quietly down the corridor, checking each cell. Most held alien prisoners he did not recognize. Some were empty. Others held humans in various states of despair. Jake's heart sank with each face he saw. Then he found her. Maya sat on a metal bed in the corner of her cell, staring at the wall. She looked even worse than she had at the auction. Her face was thinner, her eyes more hollow, fresh bruises covered. Her arms where the guards had grabbed her. Jake tapped softly on the window. Maya looked up confused. When she saw a human face, her eyes widened slightly. My name is Jake, he whispered through the small opening. I was at the auction. I came to get you out. Maya stared at him like he was a ghost. You are not real, she said quietly. I am real. I am here to help you. No one helps slaves, Maya said, turning back to the wall. Go away before they catch you. Jake felt his heart break a little. They had not just broken her body. They had broken her ability to believe in rescue. Listen to me, he said. My name is Jake Carter. I have a ship. I have a crew. We are going to get you out of here. Maya laughed, but it was not a happy sound. Even if you are real, you cannot get me out. There are too many guards, too many walls, too many locks. I have gotten people out of worse places, Jake said. But I need you to trust me. Can you do that? Maya looked at him again. There was something in his eyes that she had not seen in. Months, hope, real hope. Why? She asked. Why would you risk your life for me? Jake thought about the answer. Because you are human. Because you deserve better than this. Because no one should be alone. For the first time in months, Maya felt something stir inside her chest. It was small and fragile, but it was there. What do you need me to do? I need you to stay strong for a little while longer. I have to disable the security systems first. Then I will come back for you. How long? 2 days, maybe 3. Can you hold on that long? Maya nodded slowly. I will try. Good. What is your name? Maya Chun. Jake smiled. Nice to meet you, Maya. I will see you soon. Jake crawled back into the tunnel and continued his reconnaissance. He needed to map the entire compound, find all the guards, and locate the main security controls. It would take time, but he had to do it right. The compound was bigger than he had expected. Besides the prison cells, there were workshops where slaves made weapons and equipment. There were training rooms where new slaves were broken in. There were even entertainment areas where the guards went to relax. Jake saw things that made his blood boil. Slaves being beaten for moving too slowly, aliens being used as target practice, children being separated from their parents. But he forced himself to stay calm. Getting angry would not help anyone. In the main administrative building, Jake found what he was looking for. The security control room was on the 3rd floor, heavily guarded and locked. But the maintenance tunnels ran right underneath it. With the right tools, he could access the main computer systems from below. Jake spent the rest of the day mapping guard rotations and security protocols. The Vorthit were confident in their defenses, but they were also lazy. They had been running this operation for years without any real threats. That would be their downfall. That evening, Jake watched from the shadows as Grafmore arrived at the prison block. The big alien was drunk and looking for entertainment. Jake's hands clenched into fists as he watched Grafmore select 3 prisoners for his games. One of them was Maya. Jake followed at a distance as the guards dragged the prisoners to a large room in the compound center. It was set up like an arena, with seats for the guards to watch. Jake found a ventilation grate that let him see inside. What he saw made him want to kill every alien in the room. Grafmore had the prisoners chained to posts in the center of the arena. He walked between them with a whip, asking them questions in languages they did not understand. When they could not answer, he hit them. Maya was the smallest of the 3 prisoners, but she was also the one Grafmore focused on the most. He seemed to enjoy her pain more than the others. When he hit her, she made small sounds but did not cry out. This seemed to make him angry. "You will scream for me," Grafmore said in his grinding voice. "They all do, eventually." Maya looked up at him with empty eyes. "I have nothing left to scream about." Grafmore backhanded her across the face. Blood ran from her nose, but she did not make a sound. "We will see about that." Jake wanted to burst through the grate and kill Grafmore right there. But he was outnumbered 50-1. Getting himself killed would not save Maya. He had to stick to the plan. But as he watched Grafmore torture her, Jake made a silent promise. When the time came, he would make sure the alien suffered for every mark he put on her. The entertainment lasted for 2 hours. When it was over, the guards dragged the prisoners back to their cells. Maya could barely walk, but she was alive. Jake crawled back through the tunnels to the security control room. He had work to do. The sooner he disabled the compound's defenses, the sooner he could end this nightmare. But first, he needed to check on Maya one more time. When he reached her cell, she was sitting on her bed, cleaning blood from her face with a torn piece of cloth. She looked up when she heard him at the window. "You came back," she said. "I told you I would. I thought you might change your mind after seeing what they do here." Jake looked her in the eyes. "Maya, I want you to listen to me very carefully. What they are doing to you, what they have done to you, it is not your fault. You are not broken. You are not worthless. You are a human being, and you deserve to be free." Maya's eyes filled with tears. She had not cried in months, but something about Jake's words broke through the wall she had built around her heart. "I used to design water systems," she whispered. "I helped build new worlds. I was someone important." "You still are someone important," Jake said. "And when we get out of here, you will be again." Maya nodded and wiped her eyes. "I will be ready. When you come for me," Jake smiled. "That's the spirit. 2 more days, Maya. Then we go home." As Jake crawled back through the tunnels toward the security room, he thought about what he had seen. The compound was a machine designed to break spirits and destroy hope. But Maya was fighting back. She was remembering who she used to be, and that gave Jake hope too. The rescue was about to begin. Jake Carter sat in his ship's small kitchen, staring at the datapad in his hands. The coffee next to him had gone cold an hour ago, but he did not notice. His mind was focused on the information scrolling across the screen. Kate Morrison walked in and sat down across from him. Her red hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, and she looked tired. She had been working all night to gather information about Grafmer. "Found him," she said, sliding another data pad across the table. "Grafmer owns a mining compound on Zarian 7. It is a small planet in the outer rim, mostly rock and dust." Jake picked up the pad and studied the images. The compound looked like a fortress. High walls, guard towers, and energy barriers surrounded a cluster of ugly metal buildings. It was built into the side of a mountain, with only one way in or out. "How many guards?" Jake asked. "Maybe 50. All Vorthic. They rotate shifts every 8 hours." Kate pulled up another screen. "The compound mines rare metals, but that is not the real business. It is a processing center." "Processing center?" Kate's face went dark. "They break slaves there, train them, then sell them to buyers across the galaxy. It is one of the biggest operations in this sector." Jake felt his jaw tighten. He had hoped Maya was just being sold to one sick alien. But this was worse, much worse. "There's more," Kate continued. "Ben found the transport records. Grafmer's ship arrived at Zarian 7 6 hours ago. If we leave now, we can be there in 2 days." Jake nodded and stood up. "Get Ben. We need to talk." Ben Walsh was in the engine room, as usual. He was a small man with thick glasses and grease-stained hands. He looked up when Jake and Kate walked in. "I heard we are going to do something stupid," Ben said with a grin. "I love stupid." "What do you need?" Jake showed him the compound data. "I need to get inside this place, quietly." Ben studied the images. "Those are military-grade shields. And look at these sensor arrays. They will see us coming from 1,000 kilometers away." "What about the workers?" Jake asked. "The mining operation needs supplies, right?" "Yeah, but they use their own people, all Vorthic." Ben scratched his head. "Wait, look at this." He pointed to one of the images. "See these maintenance tunnels? They run under the compound. Someone has to service them." Kate leaned closer. "Outside. Contractors? Maybe. Let me check the local business records." Ben's fingers flew over his keyboard. After a few minutes, he smiled. "Got it. Zarian Industrial Services. They handle all the maintenance for the big mining operations on the planet." Jake felt a plan forming in his mind. "Can you get me fake credentials? Work orders?" "Give me 12 hours, Ben said. "I can make you look like their best maintenance worker. Do it." While Ben worked on the fake identity, Jake studied everything he could find about the compound. Guard rotations, building layouts, security systems. He memorized every detail until he could walk through the place in his mind. Kate worked on getting them closer to the planet without being detected. She found an old shipping route that would let them approach from the dark side of Zarian 7. They would have to be careful, but it could work. On the transport ship, Maya sat in a small metal cage. Her wrists and ankles were chained, and the chains were bolted to the floor. She had not eaten in 2 days, but she did not feel hungry. She did not feel much of anything. The ship was full of other slaves. Most were aliens she did not recognize. But there were a few humans. They all had the same empty look in their eyes, the same defeated posture, the same silence. Next to Maya's cage sat a female alien with blue skin and silver hair. Her name was Zara, and she was different from the others. There was still fire in her eyes, even after 3 years of captivity. "You are new," Zara said quietly. The guards were sleeping, so it was safe to talk. Maya did not answer. She stared at the metal wall and tried to think of nothing. "I know you can hear me," Zara continued. "I was like you once. After they first caught me, I did not speak for 6 months." Maya's eyes moved slightly, but she still said nothing. "My name is Zara. I am from Altair Prime. They destroyed my city and took me as a prize." She rattled her chain softly. "What is your name?" For a long moment, Maya was silent. Then, so quietly that Zara almost missed it, she whispered, Maya. Maya, that is a pretty name. Are you from Earth? Maya nodded once. I thought so. You have that look. Humans always fight the hardest before they break. Zara moved closer to the bars between their cages. What did you do before? I was an engineer. Maya said. Her voice was like paper, dry and fragile. An engineer? That is good. That means you are smart. Smart ones survive longer. Maya finally looked at Zara. Survive for what? To be someone's toy forever? Zara was quiet for a moment. I used to think that way, but I learned something. They can chain our bodies, but they cannot chain our minds. Not if we do not let them. My mind is broken too, Maya said. No, damaged maybe, but not broken. If you were broken, you would not be talking to me right now. The transport ship shuddered as it entered hyperspace. Maya closed her eyes and tried to remember what it felt like to be free. But the memories were like smoke. The harder she tried to hold them, the faster they slipped away. There is something else, Zara said. Something I have not told the others. Maya opened her eyes. I have been listening to the guards. They are scared of something. There have been attacks on other compounds. Slaves being freed. The Vorthik are calling it terrorism, but I think someone is fighting back. Who? I do not know. But whoever it is, they are not giving up. Maybe we will not be slaves forever. Maya wanted to believe her, but hope was too dangerous. Hope led to disappointment, and disappointment led to more pain. The ship dropped out of hyperspace near Zarian 7. Through the small porthole, Maya could see the planet below. It was gray and ugly, covered in dust storms and mining scars. It looked like a dead world. Welcome to hell, Zara said softly. The landing was rough. The guards woke up and started shouting orders. Maya and the other slaves were dragged off the ship and loaded into ground transports. The air on Zarian 7 was thin and tasted like metal. The compound was worse than Maya had imagined. The walls were 30 feet high and topped with razor wire. Guard towers stood at each corner, manned by Vortex soldiers with heavy weapons. The buildings inside were low and windowless, like bunkers. Maya was separated from Zara and the others. She was taken to a small cell block deep underground. The cell was barely big enough for one person, with a metal bed and a bucket in the corner. The walls were stained with things Maya did not want to think about. A guard threw her inside and slammed the door. The sound echoed through the tunnels like a gunshot. Maya sat on the bed and pulled her knees to her chest. She was alone again, in the dark, in the silence. Just like before, but somewhere in the back of her mind, she heard Zara's words. They can chain our bodies, but they cannot chain our minds. Maya closed her eyes and tried to remember her name. Her real name. Not the number they had given her, but the name her parents had chosen. The name she had written on her engineering degree. The name she had been proud of. Maya. Her name was Maya. It was not much, but it was a start. Far above, in the cold space. Between stars, Jake Carter's ship moved through the darkness. He sat in the pilot's seat, staring at the planet ahead. Somewhere down there, a broken woman sat in a cell, trying to remember who she used to be. Jake did not know her name yet. He did not know her story, but he knew one thing for certain. He was going to get her out of that place, no matter what it cost him. The rescue was about to begin. The lights in the auction hall were too bright and too cold. They made everything look sick and wrong. Jake Carter stood in the back of the crowd, his hands deep in his jacket pockets. He was not supposed to be here. He was supposed to be checking. Shipping routes and cargo manifests. Simple spy work. But now he could not look away from the stage. The alien running the auction was tall and covered in green scales. His name was Star, and he spoke in a voice that sounded like rocks grinding. Together, he held a long metal rod in one clawed hand. Every few minutes, he would poke at the things being sold. Next item, Star called out in broken English. Very rare. Very special. Human female. Young. Broken improperly. Jake felt his stomach turn cold. He watched as two smaller aliens dragged something onto the stage. At first, he thought it was a pile of rags. Then he saw it move. It was a woman. A human woman. She was small and thin, like she had not eaten in weeks. Her dark hair was matted and dirty. Her clothes were torn and stained with things Jake did not want to think about. But it was her eyes that made Jake's hands curl into fists. They were empty, not sad or angry or scared. Just empty, like no one was home behind them. "Look at this beauty," Sktar said, grabbing the woman's chin with his clawed hand. She did not fight. She did not even blink. No fight left. Perfect. For entertainment. Perfect for work. Perfect for whatever you want. The crowd of aliens pressed closer. Jake could smell their excitement. It made him sick. "She has good bones," called out a blue-skinned alien from the front. "How old?" 22 human years, Sktar replied. "Prime age. Still has many years of use left." Jake wanted to scream. He wanted to jump onto that stage and break every alien in the room. But he was one man with a small pistol in a room full of predators. Getting himself killed would not help anyone. "What can she do?" asked another buyer. Sktar jabbed the woman in the ribs with his rod. She made a small sound but did not move away. "She can cook. She can clean. She can serve. She does not talk. Back. She does not run. She does not fight. Perfect slave." The woman's name was Maya. Jake did not know this yet, but he would learn it soon. Maya had been an engineer before the aliens took her. She had designed water systems for new colonies. She had been smart and strong and full of dreams. But that was 8 months ago. 8 months of being treated like an animal had broken something inside her. "Starting bid is 5,000 credits. Scour announced. Hands went up around the room. Jake felt sick watching aliens bid on a human life like she was a piece of furniture. 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. The bidding went fast. Jake could see the greed in their eyes. They did not see Maya as a person. They saw her as a thing to be used. A large alien near the front raised his hand. He was bigger than the others, with darker scales and yellow eyes. Scars covered his arms and face. This was Grafmer, though Jake did not know the name yet. 15,000, Grafmer called out in a voice like grinding metal. The room went quiet. That was a lot of money, even for a human slave. "Any other bids?" Sktar asked. He waited, but no one else spoke. "Sold to Grafmer for 15,000 credits." Jake watched as Grafmer walked up to the stage. The alien was even bigger up close. He reached out and grabbed Maya's face, turning her. Head left and right like he was inspecting a piece of meat. "Good teeth," Grafmer said. "Good skin. She will be fun to break in more." "She is already broken," Sktar said with what might have been a laugh. "Very well trained. No trouble at all." Grafmer ran one clawed finger down Maya's cheek. She did not react. "I like the quiet ones. They learn faster." He leaned closer to her ear. "Do not worry, little human. I will teach you so many new tricks." Jake felt something hot and angry rise in his chest. He had seen bad things before. He had been a soldier once, before he became a smuggler. He had seen war and death and cruelty. But this was different. This was not war. This was not even business. This was evil for the sake of evil. Maya stood there like a statue while Grafmer pawed at her. Her eyes stared at nothing. Jake wondered what she was thinking. Did she remember being free? Did she remember her name? "I will take her now," Grafmer sighed, pulling out a credit chip. "Of course," Sktar replied. "Pleasure doing business." Jake watched as money changed hands. He watched as they put chains on Maya's wrists and ankles. He watched as they led her away like a dog. And he made a decision that would change everything. He was going to get her out. Jake knew it was stupid. He knew it was dangerous. He knew it would probably get him killed. But he could not walk away. Not from this. Not from her. He followed the crowd as they left the auction hall. Most of the aliens were talking about the other things they had bought. Weapons, drugs, more slaves. Jake kept his distance and watched as Grafmer loaded Maya into a transport ship. The ship was old and dirty. Jake could see rust on the hull and cracks in the windows. It looked like it might fall apart at any moment, but he knew it would hold. Together long enough to take Maya somewhere worse than this place, Jake pulled out his comm device and called his ship. His pilot, Kate Morrison, answered on the first ring. Jake? How did the intel gathering go? Change of plans, Jake said, still watching Grafmer's ship. I need you to track a transport. Registration number ... Hold on. He moved closer to get a better look at the ship's markings. Delta-7-7-9 ... Why are we tracking the transport? Because I'm about to do something really stupid. Kate was quiet for a moment. She had worked with Jake for 3 years. She knew that tone in his voice. How stupid. The kind that gets us all killed. Great, my favorite kind. What do you need? Jake watched as Grafmer's ship lifted off into the dark sky. I need you to prep the ship for a rescue mission. And call Ben. Tell him to start working on the weapon systems. A rescue mission? Jake, what did you see in there? Jake thought about Maya's empty eyes. He thought about the way she had not fought when Grafmer touched her. He thought about the way the aliens had laughed when they talked about breaking her. I saw something I cannot ignore. He said the transport ship was getting smaller in the distance. Soon it would jump to hyperspace and disappear. But Jake was not worried. He was very good at finding things that did not want to be found. Kate, I need you to do something else. What? Find out everything you can about a Vorthik named Grafmer, where he lives, what he does, how many guards he has, everything. This is about a girl, is not it? Jake smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Yeah, it is about a girl who deserves better than what she got. All right, boss. We will get her back. No, Jake said, watching the last trace of the transport ship disappear into the stars. We will get her out, and then we will make sure this never happens to anyone else. Jake Carter had been a soldier, a smuggler, and a lot of other things. But today, he was going to be something new. Today he was going to be a hero.